Hey, I'm John Cannell. Today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making flourless chocolate cake. So let's get started. First off, we're gonna give 4 ounces or 113 grams of a nice bittersweet chocolate a good chop. This is a flourless chocolate cake, so you want the main ingredient to be amazing. And we're chopping the chocolate so it has more surface area and it melts more quickly. For this recipe, by the way, you don't want to use like chocolate morsels or chocolate chips unless they're specifically for baking, just because they're not going to melt as well. Set that aside. We're now going to just give an equal amount, so that's another 113 grams, 4 ounces, half of a cup of butter. Just a rough chop, just like that, so nice and neat. Grab a bowl that fits over a pot of simmering water so that the water does not touch the bottom of the bowl. Plop that butter and chocolate into your bowl. This is one of my favorite recipes. It's like a secret favorite recipe because it's full of chocolate flavor, really easy, but most importantly, it's perfectly sweet. It's not too sweet. It's not too rich, surprisingly, either. Even though there's no flour, it's just plain delicious. We're gonna pop this over our simmering water now so it gently melts. We want this to be a nice, beautiful concoction of melted butter and chocolate. While that melts, and yes, you'll be keeping an eye on this and giving it an occasional stir, grab an 8-inch pan, cut an 8-inch circle out of parchment paper, and just butter the pan. You don't even need to do any flouring or anything else like that. And it's really just the side. Just like that. Place that parchment on the bottom. This pan is ready to go. So right here, I can see that the butter is starting to melt, the chocolate is too. Just go ahead and break up any chunks of butter and give it a stir. You can also adjust the temperature down if it feels a little hot. You really just want to melt the chocolate. You don't want this to be like flaming hot because we're going to be adding eggs and stuff to it. The last thing I'm doing is measure, my gosh. The last thing I'm doing is measuring out 50 grams or half a cup of cocoa powder. It's had a hole in it. This is just about melted. I'm gonna take this off of the heat, and the residual heat in the chocolate will continue melting everything else. There's a couple specks that are still solid. That's 50 grams. I can't believe what a mess I made. This was like the exact opposite of what I wanted to happen. To my mixture, I'm adding that 50 grams of cocoa powder. Oh my God. I'm sifting it just in case there are lumps. This has been like magical cocoa powder with no lumps in it, but most of the time there's like full of rocks. 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. This is going to give us that sweetness we want. It's 150 grams. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Give this a stir. And now to hold it all together, we're gonna add 4 whole eggs. I'm gonna mix as I go along so I don't have like a giant soup of eggs. And I will point out, my mixture has cooled down slightly. If yours got fiery hot, then you're gonna wanna go ahead and let it cool down for a bit first. Final egg, and it's so interesting to see the journey this has taken because it starts out looking like the chocolate has broken or seized. But as you go along, it becomes silky and smooth and cohesive. And you could definitely do this with a hand mixer or in your stand mixer, but for this recipe, I love just making it in one bowl with one utensil, and then that's it. Look at that. So nice and silky. If you want to really amplify the chocolate texture, you can add up to a teaspoon of espresso powder. It's optional, but with just a little bit of espresso powder, you're not going to taste coffee. It's just going to amp the chocolate taste up. Pour this into your prepared pan. Beautiful, dark, fudgy, silky batter. I got as much of the batter out as I can. I don't want to waste it. It's delicious. You can let me know in the comments if you just pour it and rinse it later, or if you try and like squeeze out every single drop. Our cake's going into the oven, 360 for 20 to 25 minutes, or until the top has a nice crust and the edges have risen and set. It's like a molten fudgy cake in the middle. In you go. Once your cake's out of the oven and slightly cooled, you're ready to plate it. So I actually like there we go. This isn't the most beautiful cake, but it is so delicious. We're gonna gussy it up with a dusting of cocoa powder on top, a few raspberries, and just like that, it's ready to serve. If you like this video, check out my chocolate playlist. It's really nice. Because there was no flour, it actually melted in your mouth. It's like a silky chocolate cloud. I hope you get a chance to make this recipe, and I'll see you in the next video.